Hi, I'm Grace, and I'm an intern at the Athens Messenger, and this is John Halley, the photographer with whom I intern. So John, how long have you been here at the Messenger?
Oh, I knew you'd start with a hard question. I've been here more than 20 years. So, when I first started, we did things with black and white photography. And so I spent a lot of time in the dark room developing my own film and things like that. And things have changed quite a bit since then.
So where did the darkroom used to be?
Oh, in this whole back area where the machines are that make the plates. I don't know if I've ever taken you back there or not.
So it's back in the printing room.
Right. I used to have like 3 rooms all to myself, and now
you're just in this little cubicle.
I have one small cubicle here, shared by 3 people. But it's still a good world.
So, what college did you go to?
I went to OU, and I graduated in photography. It wasn't journalism photography, but it was photography. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot in college, but I learned more on the job. And so on-the-job training is, I recommend quite a bit.
So like internships?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So what brought you to working at the Athens Messenger?
Well, I needed work, and I liked the town.
So what would you say your biggest strength is as a photographer?
Oh,
I know it's hard to narrow it down to one.
I know, it's incredible. Well, I have this thing I do with kids where I go to a lot of schools and do a lot of pictures at schools. And a lot of times if you're a photographer and you're taking pictures, kids tend to pose. But I try to put my invisibility cloak on me, and I ask them to just ignore me, and then eventually they do ignore me, and that's when I get the better pictures. And so it's that cloak of invisibility I think is really important.
So tell me about your life before the Messenger and where you worked.
Oh, well, I did have many jobs, and a lot of them was in photography. And I worked for a catalog company in New York City. And they did things for like Sears catalogs. And we worked with big cameras, and the negatives were like this big. And it was just incredible work. The quality of the pictures had to be just perfect. And I learned a lot about lighting in there. And we used hot lights, and we didn't even use flash. And so that was another old-fashioned way of doing things. And so that was how long ago it was. Back in the 80s, early 80s even.
What brought you from New York to Ohio?
I got a scholarship to go to school here. And I wanted to further my education in photography. And I got a scholarship, came out here, liked it, and stayed. And now we bought a house, and that's what really kind of settles you down, is when you buy a house.
What's the most exciting part about being a photographer?
Oh, probably I really enjoy doing something different every day. And yesterday I did something I learned about brain waves. And I took a picture of this woman who had electrodes attached to the top of her head, and they read her brain waves. And how many people, get to do, have an opportunity to experience things like that?
I guess brains.
After John told us about the papers, he took us back to where they're printed. This is part of the second press, in use printing their upcoming holiday ad. This machine is called the inserter. All the separate pieces of the paper are added here. In addition to photography as a hobby, John also does collages. And you find things like this all over his workspace. And it's also a running joke in the office that John has the biggest crush on Audrey Hepburn. I truthfully got more out of this internship than I ever expected to. Ashley and I became really good friends. There was never a dull moment, especially in John's cubicle. John became our mentor. I really feel like we're going to keep a relationship after this internship is over. And you know what? I was actually published, my own writing, 2 times. A dream of mine since before I could remember. I was a part of things that I never would have been otherwise, like this protest at Hocking College. And believe it or not, Austin choking Zach and Tyler was for an assignment. And this guy, tailgating in the parking lot before an interview, things like that just happen at the Messenger. And I even got some photography lessons.